Alright, you guys, I'm doing something a little bit different today. I was going to do a live stream, but since on this channel I haven't done one yet, I have to wait 24 hours. So, I'm going to make a video real quick on RPG Maker MZ. I haven't really converted to MZ myself personally until recently. So, I've had a lot going on in my personal life, as I said in the community post that I've made on my YouTube channel here on ALT+SHIFT+NERD. And the only reason I'm taking time to do this is because I've had to upgrade my computer, and while doing that I had to reinstall software because my old computer, it tanked. So I'm setting up the new one, I'm having to reinstall software, and all my RPG Maker software is part of that. And so I'm installing it so I can use it on this computer whenever I get the chance, whenever some of the other things I have to do die down. So anyway, while I'm doing that, I go to this website, which is where I'm at now, because I had to look for something to download. I forget, something to do with a driver. Anyway, so long story short, while I'm here, I ended up going to I was waiting on the download to complete, so I just started looking around to see what's new. So I went to the free contents here. Okay, so I just saw sample games. I'm like, I'm not really interested in that right now. Maybe later. But I'm scrolling down, and I see this ARPG Plugin set. So I read about it, and basically it's like a Link to the Past, Legend of Zelda, top-down 2D live action battle system where you don't go through taking turns or any of those things. Normally I go to VX Ace to create games like that, but if I can update to a new thing and do it. So based on what it's saying, it says that it's you don't have to know any coding whatsoever, and it's really simple. So I downloaded it. I just hit the download, and I downloaded it. So once I did that, I extracted the zip because it comes in a zip drive, and so here it is. I'm going to go ahead and show you what they have, what it is out of the box, and then I'm going to talk about it. It's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and say that. However, it's not quite as easy as they say, and there's no documentation. The only documentation that you get is basically this right here. And so when I first saw this README, I thought, okay, well, this must be pretty simple, because half of it is just the legal, like how you can use this to sell games or not sell games, how you distribute it, just like legal normal stuff. And then this is the credits. And then here is, from here up, is basically just 2 pages of how you're supposed to use it. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, this sounds kind of easy and simple. You know, you just install the plugins, that sort of thing. So let's just open up the sample game that they provided, and take a look at it, see if it's worth messing around with, that sort of thing. So this, again, out of the box. I haven't fidgeted with or touched this. So it's going to open up. All right, so here's what you'll be greeted with. This is the ARPG sample. All right, and it takes you to this first map. So let's just go ahead and play it. I'll get into the technical stuff in a minute. Hopefully this won't be too long of a video right now, but we'll see. Again, doing something a little bit different. I haven't done this on the channel yet. So I'm going to hit play here, and this starts like a test game. So we're just going to play through real quick.
Welcome to the world of action, RPG samples. Enter the red whirlpool on the left, proceed to the tutorial map. Enter the blue tornado on the right, or go to the sample stage. If you're new, start with the tutorial in the red tornado on the left. Play it.
Alright, so I'll play a little bit of this, and I'm just going to show you some stuff. I'm not going to play through the whole thing. And I'm playing with the controller. I prefer not to do the keyboard and mouse, but I don't have to on any kind of PC gaming. We'll talk more about PC gaming later and me. But, so I already know that this is the actual game here. So I'm going to go through the tutorial first. And as you can see, you have your HP and your MP here. And this basically just opens up your face, the character's facial picture. It opens it up here. So anyway, let's do this. Let's go to the tutorial.
Press the Z key to attack an enemy. On the other hand, if you hit an enemy, you will take damage. Keep your distance from the wolf and attack with the Z key to defeat it. The Z key to attack and defeat it.
So all you do basically is just a basic attack. He's pretty slow, and that was pretty easy. So we move on, right? Alright, so this is about guarding. Basically what it's saying is, if you hold down this one button while you're being attacked, you'll actually reduce the damage by half. And if you guard at the right moment, exactly as the attack hits you, Just Guard is activated and you can completely neutralize the enemy's attack. I haven't had experiences with that part yet. The nine tails in front of you will hit you with fireballs. Guard well to prevent the attack and take advantage of the opportunity to defeat it. Alright, so I'm going to try to block. See how it's 13? So here's 26. So if you do manage to block, as it hits you, is it going to hit me? Then it reduces it. See, it reduced it, but you got to be facing it. So that's actually pretty cool. So I'm sitting here, I was playing this, like running around. Like, okay, that's awesome. I try to do it right at the same time. See, I neutralized it. Do it right as it hits you. Awesome. Okay. So then, my little strategy is get a slightly, not quite in front of him, but slightly next to him. So see, well done. Okay, so I'm sitting here playing this. I'm like, you know what? This is actually, it seems pretty straightforward and kind of cool. So, yeah. And then I got to this part, and this part kind of impressed me a little bit too. Open the skill or item selection screen from the menu and select an item. So what we're going to do here is, there's an inventory list down here. So what you're going to do is open up your screen here and go to skill, and then you're going to select whatever skill you want. You can put items, not just skills, in this little inventory area here. But we'll get to the items in a minute. So okay, so I got my thing all ready to go. Basically, it's telling you what button to press. So you can't really like attack from this distance, so you have to use this feature. And there is, when you go to use some items, you can set a delay, like how long it takes before you can use it again, so you can't just spam it. And I like the health bars above the creatures. Alright, so then it opens up this little bridge, you go across, I'm thinking, okay, that's pretty cool. I can think of a lot of cool mechanics to use, you know, in games that I develop later on, using, you know, what's being offered here, and what's, you know. So what this is going to teach you now is Thunder. Basically, it's another skill, you equip it the same way, put it wherever you want to put it in these little things right here, and then you can cycle through back and forth. So I'm going to do Thunder now. So I'm going to use it. And you actually have the option to select, which is awesome, I think. That's really, really cool for an RPG Maker game. I mean, they've never had something like this before, except through plugins and scripts like an ACE. VX Ace was what I was using before, like I said. And they give you unlimited right now for the tutorial. So right now, I mean, there's nothing they can do. They're just goners. They're fish in a barrel, basically. So that basically, that's it. That concludes the tutorial. So then you go through, and although they didn't show you how to use bombs, so I'm sitting here, okay, well, let's play the game. Maybe how they intended. It's a little sample gamer type thing. They leave you with fire from the tutorial. They don't leave you with thunder, though. Alright. So, the items have some range. I like that. Starting to get a little, overwhelmed there. They do allow you to dash. You can miss. I do like that part. So a lot of your, unlike VX Ace, you can use a lot of your menu system in your database. You know, you can actually have, you know, your criticals and set for each player or each weapon and things along those lines. So I just learned Thunder because I leveled up. They gave me 3 potions, which I'm going to need. So what I'm going to do is go through here and set an item now. You can go ahead and use it, or you can set it in your inventory. That way you can just, with a click of a button, you can go ahead and press it. And one thing I do like too is once you set something, it automatically is selected instead of having to move your cursor around and go to what you just put in there. So okay, so with that in mind, now we're gonna go to the bombs. Okay. All right, so here we go. We got a mixture. We got another enemy that can shoot stuff. So you can program all these things other than just basic enemies. Alright, so here they give you bombs. That's all this sign says, is that, you know, rocks can be destroyed by bombs. Okay. So it's cool. Now I got your bombs. Same thing here. Go to item, and you basically register your bomb. See how it was automatically selected? Alright, so then you can't be too close with this one. You have to give yourself some room. And this does have the 8 directional diagonals as well, movement. So that's actually really cool. So anyway, there we go. They give you 5 to work with. All right, so that's bombs. There's not much left, but I'm going to try to rush through this so I can get you to show you the main boss. Now, I won't be leveled up or anything, so I won't be fighting him seriously. But this is really cool, too, because what you can do is use your skills, like in Zelda, light a torch, and then your way is no longer blocked. So you can use it, you know, and I'm sure you can get creative with it. I know I will. And I like the knockback. It does have the knockback system. Once you hit an enemy or foe, they will be knocked back. Now, also, you can program it to where they're throwing rocks at you, or you can have enemies that jump at you like this one guy here. It does do automatic saves, but you can configure that yourself. Alright, I'll skip to the boss real quick. If it'll let me. I think it will. This way you can actually see the boss in action, and again give you an idea of what's possible, and also so you can be there with me when I first opened this up and I saw this, like what you can do with this now. So he has attack patterns, and you can set those. Some are easy to dodge and avoid, while other ones like that are very difficult. But you can set that as a skill, and that's all that is a skill that's being set. Same thing with these fireballs here. And you can learn Tornado and things like that as you play the tutorial. So I'm going to move on now. You can download this. It's free. It's actually 100% free. Again, you just go to the RPG Maker web and just go to Downloads, Free Content, and just scroll down until you see it right here. They have another one that's similar where you can do the strategy RPGs. But anyway, so now I'm going to open up. So I've been working on this, kind of playing with it, to see how easy it is, since they say that it's plug and play, right? All right, so I've set up my own maps that I was working on before. Set player. There we go. All right, so I've been setting this up, and I'll show you what I've gotten so far, and then we'll go over the technical stuff, so stick around. Now, this is not going to be a tutorial or anything. I might do that later, but I just want to go over what this is actually like doing it yourself. Now, this is nowhere near as complex as some other versions of this in previous RPG Maker games, software. So I just again want to take the time to share this with you as I'm like taking a peek at it and trying to see how it works as far as setting it up. So in my downtime, I've even lost some sleep in between projects and work and things like that that's going on, and appointments I've had. I've been just playing around with this. So I'll show you what I have so far. So I have my own characters. This is my own maps. The tile sets are not out of the box from MZ. I've actually altered and edited and made some of my own tile sets, although I have left some of the regular tile sets in here. So anyway, this is what I have so far as I've been messing around with it. I've had some problems too, some very big problems. Like there was several times where I would go into this little temple area that I've created, and you can still see that I have it where the HUD is still there, but you can't attack or do anything like that in here. Okay, so then every time I would exit, the game would crash. So I had to figure out, what's going on there. So anyway, moving forward. So I've created my own enemies. As you can see here, I've created static enemies, which are basically where they're obstacles that you have to take care of. They don't attack you or anything like that. Like this vine down here, this just basically blocks the cave entrance. So you have the static enemies like that. Then you have these that move around, and these actually attack you, but it's mainly not from a distance. It's 100% up close and personal combat. All right, so and you get to set, like you can still set from the database how much they give you as far as like basically you're using the database still to set up your enemies. And I'll go ahead and show you real quick. So the static enemy I have is a vine stalk, and that's what you saw block the cave. Then I have another one which is tougher to break. And then you have the wild vine, which are these guys that are kind of running around, the little pink flowery guys. So then I created this whole other map. I had that map situated, right? So then I created this other map, and I put some of those boulders, those rocks, that you can only destroy with bombs for this particular cave. And then, like, there's a freebie cave here. And then I have this other cave where it has vines, similar like a static thing, like the other vine thing. And then you can go into that cave once you do that. So then I thought everything was okay. So I go back up to this other place, and the game crashed again. Just totally crashed. So I had to figure things out. So my first day was figuring out how to get the enemies to work. I could not, like, that was just, that was such a pain. So what happened was, in the example game that they give you, they have this these templates for your enemies. So you have to set these up, okay? Now, you're setting them up here, just to, again, give you an idea of how this works. So you have to set up your enemy here. This is the main template, okay? Then you have to set up an individual events for each one, which is still part of the template. Then you have to come in here and set them up individually. And this is where you give them all the stats. So I do like that about it, that you don't have to deal with a whole lot of comments or tags, plugins, things like that. The plugins do come into play, but not a whole lot. So I did appreciate that with this version of an action RPG. So you set up your enemies how you want them, but then you have to like remember either the name or the slot. You have to come in here, and you have to set this to enemy instead of because you can also set this to field object. Like for the rocks that you can blow up with a bomb, those would be field objects. These right here are considered enemies because the player directly, battles them, whether they can attack back or whatever you choose for them to do, but it's still a direct combat. So you have to tag that. You have to make sure all these, in each of these tabs, you have to make sure that your images align and that they remain the same until... This is like the damage, like when they're finally destroyed, it does like a frame of this before they completely disappear, and they show an animation. So you have to also make sure your switches work for this. For example, this switch here, you have to set one switch here and one switch here, and make sure this aligns with it as well. So that's 3 different places here, in addition to... setting up these guys here and keeping them straight here that you have to do. Then once you do that, to place them on the map is different because you're not taking this into that at all. This is just part of the template, and you have to make sure that they line up. Like you can't have this one connecting with this one, or else everything gets way screwed up. So you have to make sure each one, and that's why I have them like organized going up and down, so it's easier for me to pick and choose. You can see which, like this is the main combat enemy. These are the 2 static other ones that one is more difficult than the other one. This is another static one. So you have to set these up in a certain way with certain names. So there's 3 different instances. Then you have to go, and what I did was I took an example here, and you have to label it here. So you have to line this up with the other 4 areas that you have to line up. Okay? So then you can copy and paste, and then you just change the icon. But even if you change this icon, what's going to happen is it defaults back to what you set up, the images you set up here. So all of these have to align. So there's 6 different places right now for one enemy that you have to align things, and they have to synchronize. They have to work together to work properly, to function. Then once you get those pasted in, which I kept having errors, and I'm like, why am I having errors? This seemed like, okay, that's a little more complex than what they lead you to believe, and I had to figure all this out on myself just by looking at the coding, the Java, looking at the plugins, which they don't really help you a lot here either. They give you a little bit of information, but nowhere. Like I said, I've had to figure all this out, and so that's another reason I was so inspired. The more I'm learning, I'm encountering errors. I'm learning how to, just make one enemy or one field object. How much goes into it that you have to actually be aware of and pay attention to. It's insane. It's worth it. I 100%, as part of a review, just say, yes, this is awesome as hell. This is worth it. But you have to know what goes into it. So then, after you get those other 6 places lined up, you have to come in here and line up these events. So, which you can copy and paste this, but this sets up the basic engine. This, in other words, so you don't have the side view, standard RPG, or the front view. This right here triggers the activation for this particular action combat RPG system engine. And you have to make sure the switches are kosher like the deal. And you have to line things up with this one too. Now in this one, you have to go into some of the plugin commands and change some stuff. like when you set up this one enemy, you have to actually go in here. So this would be in the 7th place. You have to line things up, so you have to actually tell it the enemy ID. It took me forever to figure this part out, and it drove me crazy. I was about to let the whole thing just go and go back to using an action combat system in VX Ace. But I like the functionality and having the modern features of the newer versions of RPG Maker. So anyway, yeah, so you have to go and line this up right here too, and you have to make sure these if you just copy and paste, these are set just fine. But you have to line those up too if you know more about what you're doing, which I've learned more about it playing around with it. But just starting out, I had no freaking clue. It took me forever. I had to just dive deep into every line of all of this, just to try to figure out what is going on and where I'm missing something, So you have to line, all this stuff up. You have to make sure that this is aligned as well. This connects back to your templates, and this is a whole other naming system too. You have to have this named up. You have to set 3 different triggers for each one of these, for each one enemy, one foe that you fight. So that's 3 more triggers. That's 3 more things you have to do, which that took me a while to figure out too. And then you have to, set that here. You have to set it on each map that you put enemies on. You have to have these 2 events on every map. And not only that, which is something I just found out. In fact, let me just show you. So I have this other map right here. Okay, so right here, what I'm going to do is see how this event tag is set to enemy. Okay, what that means is if there's enemies on the screen, you have to have that in alignment with all those other things. So right now, there's 10 things to line up for what you're doing on each map. So let's go ahead and take those bomb boulders that you can destroy only using bombs, and you come over here, and I'm going to put them here somewhere. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to put them in here, okay? So this is considered a field object. So this is a whole separate map which has its own templates that is different from the enemy map. And you have to know the map names for that, okay? And so that you get, once you put this on a map, you have to let the template know the maps that the templates are coming from. So, and that's a whole other thing, like right here. This is where you have the static and some explosion, kind of where it's a template for the animations that's used once the rock is blown up with the bomb. Then you have your skills, which is where the bomb is, and a few other things. And then again, going back, you have your enemy map here. So then, once you get to the map, so what I'm going to show you is I'm going to come here to this map, and I only have it set to enemy. I do not have it set to field objects, which is what this is. That's what this FO stands for, field object. And I know this all sounds technical, and if you don't know what you're doing like me, it can be overwhelming and take you forever to figure this out without anyone helping you. I look for tutorials. I don't really see a whole lot of people talking about this on YouTube or anything. So I don't know, maybe I'm just missing some videos, or maybe I'm just not searching properly. I do have brain farts, and I can be a genius when I'm not too busy being stupid. So yeah, so field object. That's the main thing you need to know right now. Field object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my way to this location, and we're going to see the error that comes up. And it took me a long time to figure out what I was doing wrong, because I had this map set up perfect. You can battle the enemies and everything. And then I went to go back in, and all of a sudden the enemies would not work. They were just events, regular events. They were not part of the engine. They were not considered enemies. So that's where I had to figure out how to align it with the map and the other codes, the engine events that you have to make for every map. So anyway, let's make our way down to that one place. Alright, we're here. This is our field event right here. Alright, so this is only set to have enemies on the map and not field events. But there is a field event here. So if you keep going and coming back, you'll get that error. I saw so many different errors trying to figure this out, and this is one of the things I just figured out right before deciding to make this video. So then what you have to do is you have to go up here, and in this plugin you have to also type in field object. And that's basically, as you can see, that's how I have it set up. I'm looking at the wrong event. See, I'm having a brain fart already. Okay, so you need to make those one word with the O being capital. I knew I was doing something wrong there. But anyway, so you see how this is set up, because this will have enemies on it and field objects. So if you don't have that set and lined up with all the other things that I just went over, then it will not work, and you will continue to get that that error. So I'm going to go back in here and relabel this. Alright, so now when we go on to that map, now I don't have enemies on there, so we might still get an error, because I haven't tried that yet. We'll see. I need to probably just put an enemy on there just to show you how it'll work. But for now, let's just head back there. Alright, I'm here. Okay, so the more I keep going up and down, see, okay, so I don't have an enemy. So I need to put an enemy on here. I'm just going to copy and paste this guy, and that should work. Because I have all the other maps working perfectly, no matter how many times I go back and forth between them. And I don't know why it does not give you that error immediately. You have to come into the map, exit the map, and then it'll either give you the error then or when you come back to the map. I don't know why that delay. Alright, so I go back and forth, still get the thing. I'll have to figure that part out. See, I'm still figuring this out as I go. But I have the other maps just fine. We'll go right back there. See, I can go and come on this map as much as I want, and there's no errors. So I have everything lined up and perfectly. Alright, see, everything works. Okay, not only that, what was the other thing I was going to say that I was having errors with? Oh, so when you're doing transfers, you can do a regular transfer manually. You can go into the quick event and do a transfer. That's fine. That works. But when there's a part of the plugin, which I think is this dot move system, which is actually pretty cool. But it'll create errors too, and it won't work if you don't know what you're doing. So on each of the maps, all it is basically you have this you have this screen with you have to put in a comment with the width or the height, and then how many squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So anytime you hit, even though this is the event for transfer, anytime the player goes on these tiles here, these 6 to the right of it, they will be transferred without you having to go and do each individual one. You don't have to do regions or anything like that. But again, I kept having errors, and either it would give me an error or it just would not work. So I had to go in here. I had to find out. This actually, the name that you put in here is actually very, very crucial to this system working. And you also get problems if you only go to doing the other thing. Now, you could probably turn off the dot system, but right now, as many errors as I'm getting, and I'm not familiar with these plugins and how they work together in their own overall engine dynamic, I don't want to remove anything or mess things up even worse. I want this to actually work properly and function, and I'm having to figure this out as I go. So there you have it. That was my little rant about this. It's freaking awesome. I love once you get it working. It's easy because you have your templates, you have everything set up the way you need it, and you can just do whatever editing or troubleshooting with whatever quests you set up and stuff. But it's just fun. It's really fun. Right now I haven't figured out the whole weapon thing. Like when you swing, normally I can get it like by default it swings a sword, and that's the default class it has set up too is as a swordsman. So it will take the weapon from the weapon sheet and put it with that swiping that you see. And so you don't see the sword right now. But what if you have somebody like I do? Like my guy this character here uses a katana. And so what I did was I could not figure out how to make it change, especially when you have another character and you want to switch between the characters in your formation, which I was experimenting with that too. But the other thing about that, just real quick, I'm going to interrupt myself. The follower sometimes will just all of a sudden start rubber banding everywhere. And I was on this one map, and it would like get stuck in the rock. And you can only move so many squares, so many spaces away from your person, or else you can't move anywhere. And I think it was this rock right here that they got stuck on. And I had to figure out how to whatever. So I had to just keep like running around and stuff until they popped out of it. So I just went ahead and turned followers off. But I wanted them to have their own weapon animation, and I couldn't figure out how to, because the other character uses claws, and so I could not figure out how to do that. So what I did was I just went into the system file in the folders, and I just removed that weapon. Because this is the weapon right here that the main character uses, and the secondary character uses these claws. But this right here is where in the engine it's set up to register this second weapon right here. And so I couldn't figure out how to do that. So I just figured claws, swords, it's still swiping. So I just removed this as a temporary solution until I can take more time to figure it out later. And then now that's where you get you don't see the sword now, the katana, like I did, because all I did was just replace the katana in that slot previously before I deleted it completely, and you can see a katana, so it made sense for this character. But I could not figure out how to change between katana and claws. So again, my workaround, it's just a swipe where you see no weapon. But yeah, it's really cool when you actually get it working. You have to, the same with any of these RPG Maker engines, it's still a process of testing to figure out the balance with your enemies, make sure they're not too weak or too strong. And in the game I'm working on, or at least for this, to just mess around here and see with this engine and create stuff myself, this is more of like a little tutorial area. But yeah, it's really cool. It's really awesome. I am 100% behind this project. Maybe there'll be more documentation as we go, because I don't think that's been out long, the free plugin. I don't think it's been out there very long. I could be off on that. But yeah, I don't see many people talking about it. It is a bit of a hassle, to figure out if you coming into this fresh like I was. And yeah, but if you guys want me to make tutorials on this, and show you how to do some of the things that's being accomplished, then just let me know, and we'll go from there.